Kevin. Today we have a friend, a guest from Ukraine. I met him about 3-4 months ago, and then because of what happened, I'm really concerned about my friends. So here's Alex Bogdanov, right?
Yeah, Bogdanov,
you,
but I'm not sure if it's easy for you to pronounce that name.
Bogdanov. I always call you Alex before. But
okay.
First of all, I'm so glad I can speak to you again. It's only been 3-4 months, maybe 5 max since last time we were partying, having fun in Kiev, and I was enjoying the city. I was like, God, I gotta come back, man. This is such a great place. Nobody knows. I should come back, and now I see this, and I'm shocked, and I'm far away, and let me tell you, a lot of people around the world, especially in Hong Kong, are really concerned about what's happening in Ukraine, and we want to help out if we can. So let's start with your story. What happened in Kiev?
Yeah, before I actually tell you what happened in Kiev, let me take a step back and tell you what was happening right before that. You probably, just like me, you were hearing the news and you were probably a little bit worried. And after that, well, it happened. But to be honest, even the day before this, it felt like, it still was not very believable. And a lot of people doubted this, so they were leading pretty normal life. And some of my friends left just, to take care of the risks, but I didn't. And when I, the way I remember this, I was woken up by a call from my father on the phone at 5 a.m. in the morning, and he asked me if I had heard the bombing, and to be honest, at that time I didn't hear it because I was sleeping. And then as soon as he said it, I heard the shelling, and I think it started a little bit earlier in his town because he was stationed in Kharkiv, right in the east. It's 40 kilometers from the border with
where
Russia.
Our friend has an apartment, right?
Exactly, Johnny has an apartment there. Yeah. Very good for him, right?
and then you finally realized it was real because we've been honestly, I've been telling Johnny to leave. Sam has been telling Johnny to leave, and Johnny's saying no, it's okay, everybody's calm and all that. I guess a lot of people are really shocked in Kiev, right? Especially you and your friends, right?
It's been the third day of this whole war thing, and still it's kind of hard to believe. It's hard to accept because it's such a necessary thing. It's such a dumb idea, to invade countries for nothing. There is no justification. There is no reason for that war. We're just a peaceful neighboring country, but we were invaded because of somebody's imperial ambitions. That's as simple as that, And it's also to me, it's extremely stupid because Russia is definitely not the country that needs land. You know what I mean? So, and here we are. So, and let me carry on this story. As soon as I heard the explosions, I realized it was for real. And I started packing. And as I was packing, I thought to myself, I was panicking. A lot of thoughts were going through my mind. Guys, I don't wish you to go through the same ever. No. It's the worst feeling in the world. It feels like you have a couple of minutes left to leave and you're thinking what you should do. You're like, maybe you should pack, maybe you should run down the stairs because you're afraid a rocket missile will hit your building.
That's day one, right? That's day one.
Yeah, that's day one.
Yeah, and you're telling me how stressed you are, and I can imagine. And imagine our good friend Johnny and Bolt in day 3, they're still there.
Yeah.
It seems like it's much worse now than day one, right? So anyways, so what happened? So when you got down, because I was watching Johnny's video, a lot of the buildings are still intact back by then, but there's a lot of traffic jam going out of the city. So how did you get out?
So I got out. The subway was working. I jumped on the subway and I went to the most western stations for me to go to the west. I already had a plan. I thought about going to the west. I initially thought that I would like to cross to Poland. And so I went there to that subway station. I went through, and when I got out, I saw literally thousands of cars trying to get out. Obviously, everybody panicked. And a funny thing was that I saw that probably 30% of those cars, as they were leaving, they were half empty. I saw that there were, room for me to join them. And I started knocking on the windows and asking if I could join, but everybody said no. Well, probably it's the survival instinct. Maybe, they were afraid and they didn't
They
trust
know
me.
who you are, right? Yeah.
But also it's probably another reason. They probably would have relatives they would need to pick up on the way. So yeah. Anyway, luckily, I actually started walking. I thought that, well, if I can't get in, I will just walk as long as I can.
How long did you walk? How long did you walk before anything happened?
Well, I walked probably for a good 3 hours, maybe 15 kilometers, something like that. Yeah, and then I actually crossed to a neighboring small town, the town of Irpin, and I saw that the traffic jams got a little bit better, and I saw that basically a load truck stopped by, and he probably was waiting for some people to pick up. They probably agreed, like some friends or something. And I saw that as an opportunity. I ran up to him and I said, "Hey, can I get in?" And he says, "I'm sorry, I don't have any room." But I said, "What about the back of your truck? And where, like, the storage room?"
Oh, so
yeah,
it's like the
yeah,
trunk.
yeah. And he says, "I'm sorry, but this is the storage room. You can't do it." I said, "I don't care. I just need to get out." And he said, "But the fish used to be there. I used to carry fish." I said, I don't care. Yeah. Anyway, we got there with another guy who joined me. Yeah. He also saw it as an opportunity, and we got there and we drove in total darkness for good 4 or 5 hours.
So you didn't know this guy. You didn't know where he was going. All you knew he was heading west, right? So
yeah.
So all you knew was you need to go as west as possible, right?
Exactly.
And how did you end up being in? You're in Lviv, right now, right? How did you get to Lviv, and how did you get to the bomb shelter?
Well, so after that, as I started talking to the guy, he told me that his brother would be waiting for us in Zhytomyr. It's probably 300 kilometers to the west from Kiev, and we need to get there. So his brother would pick us up, but his brother was driving him to a village of Rivne. It's another western part of Ukraine, but it's not where I wanted to go, not Lviv. So I joined him and his brother after that. They gave me a ride. Really wonderful people. They were so nice. They didn't even take money. And actually, the driver who got me a ride, he also wouldn't accept any money. He said, "I just wanted to help you. I know you wanted to get out." And so as I got to Rivne, I actually found a taxi, and I came to Lviv, and luckily I am here. I think as of right now, it's probably one of the safest regions to be in Ukraine.
So what's happening? Because at first, even like I was watching Western media and all that, everybody was expecting, even if Russia were to attack, it would be probably around the Donbass area. But it seems like they're trying to just take over the whole country now. So are you saving Lviv right now? Or is there any like attacks?
Well, I could say that I'm safer than Johnny for sure in Kiev.
Of course.
But I wouldn't call it 100% safe. So in the last 3 days, in my 3 days of staying here, I've been to the shelter twice, and that's because military jets, I think they were crossing the border and they were going to attack Tel Aviv, but I think they were shot down on the way. So it's like that, it's pretty normal, except for the fact that the restaurants aren't working, only the supermarkets are open, and other stores for necessity. But then you're walking on the street, you see other people, everything seems safe, and then all of a sudden you hear the sirens and you need to run.
Is your ATM working? How are you doing with money? I mean, like, just you are you able to take money from the bank, or how are you going to get your basic needs?
So the banks are operating. You can pay with a card. You still can. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, all of the ATMs are out of cash. It's very hard to find it. But some businesses are trying to act as banks, especially huge enterprises, huge Ukrainian enterprises. And what they offer you, you can come with a card and they kind of can give you this fake transaction. You pay and they give you cash back, so you can withdraw your money. And I say that, and I think it's a great gesture from them. And I feel like the whole country is kind of uniting and trying to help each other, because Well, we've never been in this situation before. Literally, we're cornered, and
have you ever have any friends who have you ever tried to enlist in the military? Was there a draft in Ukraine before?
I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, this facility where I'm staying, they announce this sirens or military attacks, so that's why I need to listen to them carefully. Yeah, could you please repeat the questions? It was just a random announcement.
Well, have you ever had any military training? Were you drafted before, or do you have any friends that was in the army? So this must be quite a shock for you, like being a tech programmer, right? Coming out and doing this.
Well, yeah. So to answer your question, no, I've never been in the army. I've never even held a weapon in my hand. I don't even know what it feels like. I've been so far away from this. I've never even been interested in this. But I do have a couple of friends who have already been to war, and they are already they've been drafted again because they know what to do. But as of right now, I don't know. Maybe that day will come. But I know absolutely nothing about military. I've never taken any military training, and yeah, you're right. It is quite a shock, but at the same time, it isn't. It's weird because we've been having this. In fact, if you look at this, we de facto been having this war for 8 years when Russia took Crimea and the Donbass area, because we had fighting there, but it was smaller and we thought that we could control it. And here it's just like the whole country.
But I think, how do you think, me and you are not like war analysts, but how do you think this would play out? I think you guys are, based on what I hear from the news, you guys are holding up a pretty tough resistance, and I think time is not on Russia's side, because all the NATO power are giving you guys unlimited supply and money right now. So as long as they can get to you, over the course of the next few days, Russia doesn't have that much money. They'll run out of money. They run out of gas. Russia is not a very rich country like before.
Yeah, well, it's a good question. Once again, I'm not a military analyst, but it feels like it's not going according to their plan, but they're still attacking us in a very, very strong way. It's really too early to say. What I can say is, I really pray for our army to defend us and to resist this aggression, because I know it's probably one of the strongest armies in the world, but we know what we're fighting for. We are on our land. We don't want to join Russia. We're just an independent country that wants to keep its sovereignty. That's all. That's very simple. And I think a lot of Russian soldiers are not very motivated to fight us because, there is not much reason for that. But at the same time, they're still coming here and they're still fighting us. Yeah.
What are some of the most shocking images or events you've experienced the last few days that really shocked you, is still in your mind right now?
Well, I think those are the images that I see from all over the country, but especially from Kiev, because that's where I've been staying for the last probably 2 years, and I see the buildings that I know very well being destroyed. The roads that I used to drive, the streets that I used to walk. I see Russian tanks there. I see Russian soldiers walking those streets and fighting my people. It's probably the most shocking thing. Obviously, those shelling helicopters, they use everything they can, and I don't know. It feels so helpless at the same time. I want to share a little story. As I was going, as I was changing those trips on my last trip, I was sitting next to a very, I would say, elderly woman. She was probably in her 80s, and she was so nice, so polite. I don't know. And I started this conversation with her and asked her why where she was headed and why she was leaving. And she said she was going to Lviv to pick up her grandson, because her daughter and her son-in-law are in the military and they're being taken away, and somebody has to take after the child. And I thought, oh my God, this is such a heartbreaking story. But it doesn't end there. As we got to the city of Lviv, She asked me where I needed to get it inside of the city, and I told her I needed to get to the city center, and she told me, "Oh, well, we can give you a ride because we're going there as well." And I joined them on the ride, and I actually got to meet those people.
Wow.
And I just can't describe it. I don't know how they're doing this because they're so optimistic. They're so cheered. You should have seen their faces. I know it's hard for them, but they're trying to keep their spirits up. And as I sat in the back seat, and I saw their son. He was there as well, and he started talking to me. He started telling me stories, and he asked me if I was scared. Such a wonderful boy. And honestly, it was very hard to experience this. I felt like crying, honestly, because I saw that.
Yeah, let's talk about our friend for a moment there. We met through a mutual friend, Johnny FD. He's a very famous YouTuber. He's been living in Kiev for a while, and I'm kind of angry at him because everybody, the whole world, told him to leave, right? And then he says there's a 5% chance. Even there's a 1% chance you should leave. There's like a 0.1% because this is called death line risk, because it's a risk you cannot afford to have.
Exactly.
And I don't understand how he can save his apartment just by being there. Because I don't know how to assess it. He's still in Kiev. I think he's in a bomb shelter. How much of a risk do you think he is? Like, just say if the Russian actually took over that place, or even if guerrilla warfare came on for continue, like they don't look too kind on Americans, especially famous Americans like Johnny. What do you think as a local Ukrainian?
So I actually talked to him about this right before this whole thing started. And he wasn't afraid. He actually brushed it off. He said, "What are you talking about?" But I told him he's in danger. Russians are not very keen on Americans, but his argument is that he's an American, and if they do anything to
TV.
yeah, exactly. And if they do anything to him, it's kind of bad press for them, and the United States would need to be involved. Probably, I don't know. I'm really bad at this geopolitical situation. I don't know what would happen, but I still think he, like, as a foreigner, he is in danger because he doesn't know the language. And it's a wartime. They may think he's a spy or anybody, so he's still in danger.
But there's no way of getting out right now, right? So like if you're in Kiev, it's very hard, right? All the roads
it's extremely hard. Yeah, right now I don't think it's possible. Right now I think the whole city is blocked, and I think most of the bridges have been destroyed that allow you to get out. Maybe some roads are still safe, but I think
what about food and all that? Like if he's in a bomb shelter, would anybody provide him some basic food? I mean, is the ATM available? Do they use cash?
So I will say this: because he is in a bomb shelter, he will be probably staying around people, so he will be able to find food because Ukrainians are extremely generous, as you probably saw it when you were in Ukraine. And I'm pretty sure.
Ukraine. Yeah.
And so that's why I'm not too worried for him, even though Johnny likes food, as you happen to know. But but I think that food may become a problem if it becomes a long-term thing. Let's say if it's longer than a week, food supplies may become a problem.
And what's with Ben? I mean, bald and bankrupt. Why did he go there? I mean, he wasn't in danger, and he went to there because of the views. I don't know. Are you friends with him? Are you close friends with him?
No, I'm like I've seen him a couple of times. I've met him in real life, but I think his idea was, like, at least based on the stories that I've watched, that the Western media was hyping it up, and he wanted to show that it's fake. That it's just a puff. Just there is nothing. Yeah. Well, and I guess he kind of proved himself wrong a little bit.
So what do you think about, like, Johnny's theory that the Western media is always making fake news and everything? I mean, they do exaggerate a lot of things, but even if there's a little chance, what's your take on that? Is it pretty accurate how they're reporting right now, or do they only focus on the worst?
Well, let's look back at what happened. Everything they predicted, everything they warned us about,
was true.
Was true. If you remember, they were saying they would attack the capital of Ukraine. They would attack the whole of Ukraine. They want to take it all. Well, and they did. They did attack us. They did try to do it. So it's hard for me to say it was fake right now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But even if Putin hadn't attacked us, it's still like even they were hyping it up. If they were trying to hype it up, I didn't see a lot of, you know, like something that you could say legitimately fake. You know what I mean? Yeah, probably obviously they hunt for views, but I think it's just in general. It's the reason why a lot of people doubt it is because the
They've
whole
been crying wolf for so long.
Yeah, and also the traditional Western media is in a crisis a little bit. People lose trust towards it, and that's why it's so easy to say that. Well, you know, maybe it's fake. It's so easy to talk about it that way. So that would be my take in it.
What's your plan midterm? I mean, I guess this really depends on the outcome of the war. But if the war drags on for like, I don't know, a few months, what are you going to do? It's good. I think your job, you can work from home, work remote. But are you going to stay in Lviv? Are you going to try to leave, or what's the plan?
I would prefer to stay in Ukraine till the last moment. I honestly, the reason why I want to stay with my people. I want to stay with my country. I love my country. I don't want to leave it. And yeah, it is dangerous, but at the same time, I'm in a safer place that a lot of our guys are. And well, I just want to hope for the best. And if it drags on for a couple of months, I don't know. I don't know, really. It's hard to predict because it's been only 3 days, but it feels like it's been forever, you know?
Yeah.
It's so difficult to even describe it. It's just a weird feeling. It still feels like a dream, but like a bad one.
Yeah. A lot of people do support you around the world, and we want to give some donations to the Ukrainian army and to the people. I remember you did give us a bank account. Can you explain a little bit how we can pledge?
Yeah, exactly. So the links that I sent, those are international accounts for you to donate. Please take a look at them. They're euro accounts, they're dollar accounts. So it's basically the way you do it. There is those requisites, so to speak, right, that you copy and paste. And I'm pretty sure a lot of banks, pretty much all banks around the world should work with this. Yeah.
Okay.
And
it goes to the army, right?
It goes to the fund that not only supplies the army but also the wounded and including civilians. So it is going for a good cause. So be confident about this. Yeah, and it's legitimate. It's a government fund basically. Okay.
I usually ask for people's information right now. I don't think I will ask yours right now because maybe you're in a war, so maybe it's best to keep your identity hidden. But I do look forward to talk to you again. I do look to drink with you again. I mean, Kiev or Lviv or Odessa, and stay safe. Any other things you want to tell the world before we finish this interview?
Yeah, there is one tiny thing that I would like to mention. It's the fact that like many of my foreign friends are asking me how they can support us. And I think money, of course, is good, but I think there is another way which could be better. And that is basically you could file petitions. You could pledge to your government, and you could talk about it online. You know, you could voice your concerns. You could make your voice heard by. So there's this latest petition about NATO closing airspace above Ukraine. That would help us a lot because most of the attacks come from air, and that's very crucial for us. So there is a petition for that, and there are many other things that you could do in communication, in terms of communication with your government. Even if you just post something in your story on Instagram, that still helps us because we make our voices heard. People talk about this. It creates this, basically creates a situation when people want to hear about this and want to find out more, and that's good press for us.
Okay, understand. We'll do. So I'll put it in my podcast, and I'll put it in my post. In the meantime, Alex, stay safe. Keep in contact. If you know anything about our friend Johnny, please let me know. And then I really hope to see you again soon. Stay safe, and I think Ukraine will win. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate
it. No problem. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.